What do you make of that performance, Matthew? Was it's good in patches, but unable to match it for the 4 quarters?
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't quite have the polish in the end. We had some really good patches of play. We had momentum at times, and we knew it was going to be a challenge. We're playing the top side or a side playing for top spot. We knew that they'd have their time. Unfortunately, they punished us more than we were able to do when we had our opportunity. So we talked post game about polish, that ability to finish in front of goal. But there were some really good signs for us, for what we're working on longer term. But, the way we started the game, first quarter, the boys came out and bought the fight, and we were in their face. And I think we finished with 26 front of centres, which is, a target that we're aiming for against a really good side. So opportunity was there, and unfortunately not quite the finish today. And I guess if you look at the way the game finished, if you're looking at the total score, unfortunately it blew out at the end there. We changed a few things. We went a little more aggressive in around centre bounce. We got scored on 3 goals in a minute and a half. So the game is well and truly put away. But pleased with some of the development, pleased with some of the guys that are really starting to show some form.
Who were some of those guys those younger guys that impressed you today, Matthew? I know Darcy Fogarty certainly stepped up with 3 goals. Who else impressed there?
Yeah, Darcy's one of them. When you look across the board, I sort of look at McHenry, Murray, McPherson, Jones, Fogarty, Schoenberg. These guys are all 20, 21 years old, or 22. I think McPherson might be 22, but to be playing the footy they are at this point is a real positive for us, and it's quite exciting for our football club to have those guys up and going and playing the level of footy that they are. So today I thought Fog today. That's it's a couple of weeks in a row now against high quality opponents where he's competed really well. I think of his 12 possessions, he had around 8 or 10 contested. We keep wanting to get him in the TV screen, like get him in the fight and in the contest, and we're slowly getting there as a group. So we're slowly giving him more and more opportunity. Unfortunately today his wingman in Himmelberg went down pretty early, and that cost us not having that other tall target ahead of the ball, and put a lot of pressure on young Riley Philthorpe, who I thought fought well, but quite a challenge up against Lever today and the Melbourne side as a team.
Was just on Himmelberg. Was it even costly given that they had no Stephen May in that first 15 minutes? It looked like you were really exploiting that lack of May down there, weren't you? Yeah,
Murphy's Law. They lose May, and we thought, okay, there's an opportunity here for our talls. We also played some front of centre footy, and it looked like, okay, the game, we knew that the momentum would change at times throughout. But to lose a key forward in that moment, we shuffled a few things. We had Shane McAdam come in, who we knew he can compete in the air, but when your key competitor ahead of the ball, and that's Himmelberg on the day he goes down, it does make you have to make a few moves. And unfortunately today, we weren't able to score when we went inside 50. That was reasonably even up until that last quarter. So the game could have gone either way, but the better team on the day won.
I was a little late, so forgive me if you've already been asked this, but Paul Seedsman, he's just continued his sensational form again. He really led from the front, real 4-quarter performance. How have you seen his growth just over the course of this season as a player?
Paul's been incredible for our group, on and off the field. He's he's a weapon with the ball in his hands. He's such a good leader on the field this year. He's taken his leadership to another level. I've been super impressed with the way he's gone about it. He helps the younger group structure up. He's very, very good at handball seeds. I think he had something ridiculous in the first half, 13 or so in the second half. So he's obviously really important to our ball movement, but he's also now, as I said, brought that leadership, and he's got the guys playing a style of footy. They're showing a DNA now off the back of some of our really important leaders, and he's one of them. Lairdy's another one. Rory Sloan has really stepped up in that space. Tom Duday behind the ball. So, we're seeing some really good signs from those guys.
I mean, he's done that at 29. How fine a line is it therefore to sort of know which guys to? I know we've seen what's happened in the last week or two. Which guys to keep and which guys to move on? Does that sort of does his form sort of challenge your thinking at times that guys can't improve late into their 20s?
Yeah, look, we've never write a player off, due to age. It's not all about age. There's more to what you look at when you're looking at building your list, and it's not about necessarily, a player not being at the level to play AFL. Sometimes it's about an importance of your list and how that structures up, and what players you'll need in certain areas on the ground. And Paul's shown this year that when you get to that sort of age of 28, 29, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're coming down the other side. Often we talk about players hitting their peak at 26 or thereabouts. Well, I think he's shown this year that probably, and I don't want to take anything away from Paul, but the work he's done with his younger teammates has made him a better footballer. And I mentioned that earlier in the year around, Taylor, the way he started the season. He did some work through the pre-season that, it was leading off field and making other players better that ultimately helps you as a player. It makes you play better footy, you're well connected. And that's a real positive for us.
On that similar vein, I guess Tom Lynch, obviously not going to be club next year, but still putting a very strong performance this year. You're hopeful and that he will find a home next year, and because he seems to be hasn't missed much of a bit of pace in the last today's game anyway.
Yeah, I am. Are really close. He's been really important for me coming in as a new coach to the footy club, and he's been a really important leader for us. I'd love to have him stick around the footy club, to be honest, and help us. He's in long-term goal is to get into coaching, and he'll be a very good coach. He's done a lot of that off field this year, but I wish him all the best with, if he decides he's going to have another crack at it, and an opportunity shows itself, I wish him all the best.
Do you have any clarity as to where and when your final game's going to be?
Look, I know it's not locked in. My understanding is it's obviously North Melbourne. We're hoping it's in Adelaide. We're planning for that at this point in time. If you look at how the schedule pans out, both teams won't play finals, so you'd assume it'd be a late game on that weekend, probably the Sunday. But again, it's not 100% locked in. Nothing's been locked in this year.
Yeah, you've been happy. I mean, it was obviously a big week for the club a few weeks ago. You've been happy with the way the team has responded so strongly, against two, top four teams in the last 2 weeks. Has that pleased you? Has that been a bit of silver lining?
Yeah, you broke up. I got most of it. Yeah, from the last 3 weeks we played, 3 sides fighting for top 4. The Bulldogs, we didn't really bring a performance that we were proud of at the end, but definitely the last 2 weeks, we found the game that we put out there early in the season. In fact, I think we've been even better these last couple of weeks as far as the way we've connected up. Some of the, as I mentioned before, some of our younger players that around that 20 to 21-year-old age, I think they've really stepped up. Their games have gone to another level. So some great signs for us. When you play the best sides, you need to come out and perform, otherwise you can get embarrassed. But we put some good performances out there. Again, we're disappointed that we don't get the result, because we at times today, we come in at 3/4 time, we feel like we're right in that game, and it's there if the opportunity is there for us. Unfortunately, we're not quite there at this point. We don't quite have the polish on our game and the ability to put scoreboard pressure on our opposition.
Just still on that situation, I guess, is there any clarity on with Taylor Walker what the future looks like, or is it still too early to say?
Look, we're working through that at the moment with Taylor. I'll make it really clear. We haven't distanced ourselves from Taylor Walker whatsoever. We've got a lot of support around Taylor and his family. He's going through a tough time at the moment, and we'll continue to support him as we have support all of our players. It has been a tough week, but at the same time, we've sat down as a group, and I know we're going to be stronger moving forward, and we're going to be a really important organisation going forward. I know we're going to be big in this space. We're going to do whatever we can to make a change in this space. And I hope Taylor's part of that.
So you hope that he will possibly be on the list still next year. Is that the hope at this stage?
We'll continue to work through it with Taylor, continue to work through it as a footy club, and that's what we're doing really well at the moment. And it is, look, I'm sure you understand it's a complex situation that we're dealing with here. It's a really tough one for us to be in, and we'll continue to work through it and support everyone we can.